Perik Yudalad Mishnah Dalad. The Mishnah continues with the theme of refuah, and again we're discussing a person who is not a cholesh sheyesh bo sakana, because a cholesh sheyesh bo sakana, i.e. pikuach nefesh, he can do any melacha on Shabbos. We're not even discussing a cholesh she'ein bo sakana, i.e. a person who is incredibly ill, or who's in bed, or who feels totally weak, even though his life is not in danger. We're not discussing him either, because he can take these medicines, because we don't make a gezeira of shchikas samonin for him. So who are we discussing? We're discussing someone who is not yet at the level of cholesh she'ein bo sakana, and he's just not feeling well. He's whatever the problem is. And what the rule that has emerged from the last Mishnah, from this Mishnah, is that this person is allowed to eat regular foods, Michael Buriim, foods which normal healthy people eat, but is not allowed to eat anything which is clear that he's only doing it for the Shum Refuah. So that's the grey area, and that's what the Mishnah is coming now to sort of clarify. Hachoshesh b'shinov, says the Mishnah, someone has a toothache. Lo yigama, he shouldn't sip bohenes achomis, he shouldn't sip vinegar sort of through the teeth and just sort of swish it around in his mouth. Avol metabalhu kadarko, but he can take his bread and dip into vinegar. Ve'im nisrape nisrape, and if he gets better, if he gets cured, then he gets cured. That's fine. In other words, a person has got a toothache, and he's not a cholesh she'ein bo sakana. He's just got a michush b'am. It's painful, but it's not excruciating. It doesn't take him to the level of cholesh she'ein bo sakana. So the eitzah is he can take vinegar and he can dip his bread into it, because that's considered normal eating habits. What he should not do is to sip it to sip it leyigma bohenes achomit. Now the Bar Tanura from the Gemara makes an important qualification. It says the Bar Tanura, lo yigma achomit, he mustn't sip the vinegar v'yiflot and then spit it out. Why? Because then it's clear that he's doing it l'shem refuah, for medical purposes. However, if he sips it and swallows it, then then that would be okay, because that's not evident that he's doing it l'shem refuah, and that's considered sort of a normal, healthy way of eating. So that would be okay. The Mishnah Berurah in Siman Shin Kof Ches, Sif Kotzen Kuf Beis, makes the point that whilst we allow this person to sip it and swallow the vinegar, he shouldn't hold it in his mouth for too long, because once he holds it in his mouth, sort of swishes it around, then it becomes apparent he's doing it for refuah purposes. Fine. So to summarize, a person who's got a mild toothache, who's not a cholesh she'ein bo sakana, so he is allowed to eat normally, to dip his bread into the vinegar. He's even allowed to take the vinegar, sip it and swallow it. But what he must not do is spit it, swallow it and spit it out, or swallow it and sort of hold it in his mouth for too long. Continues the Mishnah. Hachoshesh b'mosnov, if a person has got pains in his loins, lo yosuch yain v'chometz, he shouldn't anoint himself with wine or with vinegar, because again it's clear he's doing it l'shum refuah, and that's not allowed. Avol sochu es hashemen, but he is allowed to anoint himself with oil, because that's what normal healthy people, they anoint themselves with oil. That's considered a normal practice, and therefore it's considered, as it were, a Michael Brim, a normal activity of well people. Therefore, it wouldn't be caught by the halachas of refuah. However, the lo shemen vered, he must not use oil which is from roses, for rose oil. Why? So the Bar Tanura explains, Lefi shadom of yakarib, says the Bar Tanura, because the price, the expense of this is enormous. Umukcha milsa to lefuah ka'ovid, and a person would only use shemen vered if it's for medical reasons. He wouldn't do it just for stam anointing himself. So therefore, a person who's choshesh b'mosnov, he can't use yain v'chometz, but he can use shemen, but not shemen vered. He can't use shemen vered because otherwise it would be clear that he's doing it as shum refuah. Says the Mishnah, B'nei melachim sochin shemen vered al makosehen. However, princes, the sons of kings, they can use shemen vered on their wounds, shekein darkam losuch b'chol, because for them, due to their wealth, they would even use shemen vered during the week, and therefore that's their normal custom to anoint themselves with shemen vered. Money is not an issue, And therefore, since it's not clear that they're doing it l'shum refuah, therefore it would be mutter for them to use shemen veret. Reb Shimon says, Kol Yisrael b'nei melachim heim. All of Klal Yisrael are considered b'nei melachim, and therefore, in this respect, whatever is permitted for royalty is permitted for all Jews. And since royalty would use shemen vered, then Jews would be able to use shemen vered as well. The halacha is not like Reb Shimon. The halacha is like the Chachamim, and therefore shemen vered you would not be able to use shemen vered unless a person was a ben melech. Just as an interesting aside, a factor to summarize, as it were, this Mishnah, the halacha that emerges from the last two Mishnahs is that if a person is a chodesh sheyesh bo sakana, you can break Shabbos pikuach nefesh no shaila. A chodesh she'ein bo sakana, there's no gezer shchichas hamamonim, and a person can take medicines on Shabbos. Anyone who is lower than a chodesh she'ein bo sakana, he's not bedbound, etc. So then he can take Michael Brim, he can take regular foods, even if his kavanah is l'refuah, but he should not be taking any foods which is clear that he's doing it l'shum refuah. And therefore, the last two Mishnayos have told us the Gedorim of what he can and cannot do. For example, if a person has a sore throat, who's got a bit of a cold or whatever, and he wants to have a whiskey on Shabbos. So therefore, according to our Mishnayos, it would seem that since a whiskey is Michael Brim, it's considered a normal thing, a happy, healthy thing to do. Therefore, it would be mutter for a person, even though he's doing it because he's got a sore throat or a bit of a cold, to have a whiskey on Shabbos, so long as he's not telling people he's doing it l'shum refuah, or he's not doing anything holding the water in or gargling with it in order to help his sore throat. So that's considered Michael Brim, and therefore that would be considered okay on Shabbos. That is the end of Mishnah Dalet and the end of Perek Yud Dalet.